Hi, folks. I'm Peter Lemieux, and I tell baseball stories. My show is called Rounding Third with Batter Sports. I would appreciate it very much if you've been following me or if this is the first time to make comments, subscribe, like, 5 star. I don't follow that stuff very much, but if you like the story, subscribe and get them coming in and give it a good rating if you can. For those of you that may recall, my last show was called Shortened Careers. And I went through 4 players whose careers were shortened by injuries, and we, the fans, never got to see the great performances that probably would have come if their careers went on. I ended that by saying there's a 5th one, the one I ranked number 1. Today's show is about the 5th one, and his name is James Rodney Richard, and everybody called him J.R. Richard. Time frame, he pitched from 1975 to 1980. We only got to see 5.5 seasons of him. But let's talk about him. First of all, the man was a giant. He was 6 foot 8 inches tall. And when he came up, he was a very intimidating pitcher. And like a lot of good, intimidating pitchers in the beginning, they lacked good control. Think Nolan Ryan, think Randy Johnson. He exhibited wildness when he started. In his third start, he had 8 walks, and in his fourth start, he had 8 walks. However, he also showed great promise. In April 29th against the Padres, in just 6 innings, J.R. Richards walked 11. Well, if you throw the ball really fast and don't have control, it's hard for the batters to figure out what's coming on. Later in the same year, he's a rookie now. He pitched a one-hitter through 6 innings and did walk 10 more guys. He's the only starter in the Astros in that year with a winning record. And he had a team high 176 strikeouts, which was 5th in the National League. However, he led the league in walks and wild pitches. So now J.R. Richards gets to his second year. In his second year, it starts to come together. 8 complete games. He, in the middle of the year, his record was 9-9, but he finished 16-13. At one time, he pitched 98 innings, yielding only 22 earned runs with an ERA of 2.02 during that 50-day span. October 2nd, as the year was coming to an end, J.R. Richard pitched a complete game, 13 strikeout performance, a game in which he also hit 2 home runs. He finished the season with 20 wins, 20-15, 14 complete games, 3 strikeouts, and 214 as 3 shutouts and 214 strikeouts. At the age of 26, he had become only the second pitcher in Astros history to record 21s in a season. He had an ERA of 2.75. Starting hitters batted 212 against him. He had the league lowest number of hits per 9 innings. 1977, we had the emergence of what's becoming a superstar pitcher. He had a season-high 14 strikeouts in the last start of the year. He concluded the season by winning 9 of his last 12 games. He had a record of 18-12, and now his strikeouts went from 214 to 267, and his ERA, 267 innings, his ERA was down to 297, but his strikeouts were over 200, 214, which brings us to 78. And now we have, what's emerging to a superstar pitcher. He pitched back-to-back games with 9 and 12 strikeouts. In his third to last start, he broke the National League record of 290 strikeouts by a right-hander by striking out Bob Horner, and finished the season with 300 strikeouts. becoming only the 10th pitcher and the third National Leaguer right-hander to strike out 300 batters in a season. By now, everyone's recognizing J.R. Richard as an all-star, a leading pitcher. In 2019, 18 wins, 11 losses, ERA of 3.11, held batters to a 156 batting average at home. 1979. By July 25th, he had 8 wins and 11 losses. But after that, he pitched 9 straight complete games, including 2 and 3 hit shutouts through September 6th, and he worked 86 consecutive innings without needing a reliever. He finished 18 and 13. He struck out 10 or more batters 14 times and raised his strikeouts up to 313. He joined Nolan Ryan and Sandy Koufax as the only modern day pitchers to strike out 300 batters in consecutive innings. And he limited his opponent's batting average to 209. I have described the great years of J.R. Richard, and now comes the tragic year. In 1980, recognized as one of the best pitchers in the league, Dale Murphy, a great hitter, said that it was the hardest pitcher he ever had to face. In the first half of the year, he's virtually unhittable. 5 straight wins, 48 strikeouts. This is in first half of the season with 5 wins, almost 10 strikeouts a game. He finished the first half of the season 10 and 4, already with 115 strikeouts and a league-leading 196 ERA. However, on July 8th, he pitched only 2 innings, complaining about dead arm. That should scare everyone. What the heck is a dead arm? Back then, we didn't really know about rotator cuff injuries. He was pitching great, was on his way to a record-setting year, but he had to go on the disabled list. An angiogram revealed he had an obstruction in some subclavian, whatever that is, axillary arteries of his right arm. So he had obstructions in his right arm. He went to see a chiropractor who rotated his neck. During warm-ups, this is in 1979, 1980. It's the year that we lost J.R. Richard. He collapsed, and they found out he had had a stroke. They took him to the hospital and found out that he, in fact, has had several strokes because of these blockages. And he had to go into rehab. As you might expect, he never pitched again. He tried. He tried in the minors. He tried in spring training, but he couldn't get anything back again like it was. So after 5 sensational seasons, we lost J.R. Richard. Now I want to tell you what Paul Harvey used to call the rest of the story. After his career ended, he had a string of horrible occurrences. He lost $300,000 on an investment that ended up being a scam to him. Got divorced. That cost him $700,000. He married and divorced again. By the winter of 1984, J.R. Richards was homeless, destitute, living under a highway in Houston, under an overpass. He was visited by a preacher, Reverend Floyd Lewis, who asked him to come to his church. And he ministered to him, actually got him a job with an asphalt company, and eventually J.R. Richard became an assistant pastor under this fellow. For the last 25 years of his life, he served that church and started a ministry teaching young people how to better their lives. And he died a very happy man. For 25 years, J.R. Richard gave to other people, and it brought him fulfillment. Think about this: 5 years as a great pitcher, 25 fulfilling his life. So I thought about what's the rest of the story for the other four guys, the four guys I talked about before. The first one was Mark Fidrich. He couldn't pitch anymore. He went home and did exactly what he loved doing, fixing trucks in a barn outside of his house in a very small community. He and his wife married, had a family, and was a beloved community member until he died in an accident. Number two, Tony Canigliaro opened a restaurant later on in Seattle. He got a broadcaster's job and became a very successful baseball broadcaster. Number three, Herb Score, the great pitcher who got hit with a line drive. He also became a broadcaster. In fact, did all of the Cleveland Indians games for many, many years. All four of those people I described did more positive things outside of baseball than in baseball, which leads me to one other tragic story, and that's Lyman Bostock. Lyman Bostock's career ended when he got murdered. So he didn't have an after baseball career. But I love the story of Lyman Bostock because what he did in baseball was so generous and so amazing, giving his salary back when he had a bad month, donating heavily to his church, caring for people he mentored and tutored outside of baseball. He was an amazingly generous and humble man. My friends, that ends my story on 5 shortened careers. What I learned from it is 5 careers we never got to see to fulfillment. The losers here weren't really the players, they were the fans who didn't get to see him. But then when I went deeper, thanks to studying about J.R. Richard, I found out that all the years after, with the exception of Lyman Bostock, these guys made great contributions to their communities and to the world. It makes one think what's really important in life. But I'm not going to venture into all of those thoughts right now. I hope you enjoyed the story about 5 shortened careers. If you want to make comments on your own, please do. Love to hear comments from you people. And I can't wait to get back to you with another story shortly. And I'm Peter Lemieux with Rounding Third. Like, subscribe. I can't wait to see you guys again with another great story. Bye now.